It's been over 30 years since the now legendary game designers Ron Gilbert, Dave Grossman, and Tim Schafer released the much-beloved Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge while working at the now-defunct LucasArts, and they've returned in full force with Return to Monkey Island, the long-awaited sequel to their cult classic point-and-click adventure game. Return to Monkey Island sees the return of Guybrush Threepwood, a wannabe pirate who seeks to find the secret of Monkey Island. There have been other Monkey Island games released since LeChuck's Revenge back in 1991, but none of them have been under the direction of Ron Gilbert, who's considered to be the main architect of the story for the series. For new players, there's a charming in-game scrapbook that tells the story of the first two games that catches you up to speed. There are also elements picked out from the non-Gilbert Monkey Island games that have been added to the canon of the main story with the scrapbook, seemingly because Gilbert liked the ideas. Ron Gilbert's Monkey Island games are known for their wonderful storytelling, but does Return to Monkey Island succeed in translating its formula into the modern era and in continuing a story that left off in 1991?
I don't really have anything to say. I just like doing this.
Practice is nice, but I'm busy these days.
Set in a parodied version of the Caribbean, the world of Return to Monkey Island is delightfully charming, quirky, and filled to the brim with character. Over the course of your 10-hour adventure as Guybrush Threepwood, you'll travel between familiar Monkey Island locales such as Melee Island and the titular Monkey Island itself, solving puzzles and interacting with characters from the previous games. Melee Island is filled with stylized details that couldn't be fully realized in the 1990 and 1991 Monkey Island games, and it capitalizes on the nostalgia for those original games while still being enjoyable in its own right. And Monkey Island is host to arguably the most nostalgic parts of the game for returning players, and contains some of the funniest moments to date in the Monkey Island series.
Oh no.
I think my pancreas is broken.
Do you even know where your pancreas is?
Judging by the pain, I'd say everywhere.
There are also brand new islands to be found, such as the aptly named Bermuda, which also features moments as equally as funny as the ones that came before. It feels like a welcome addition to the Monkey Island series' alternate universe Caribbean, proving that Return to Monkey Island isn't just focused on drowning its players in waves of nostalgia, but that it's also focused on adding something new and memorable to the franchise. Of course, nostalgia is still the main selling point in Return to Monkey Island. The game sees the return of virtually all of the original cast of characters found in the first two games. There's characters like Elaine, Wally, the Voodoo Lady, whose name is finally revealed in this game, but no spoilers here, Otis, Stan, and of course, LeChuck, the main antagonist of Return to Monkey Island and Guybrush's mortal enemy. There are also several newcomers to the series, such as the on-the-nose Locke Smith and the hilarious Queen Odina. These characters, along with some other new characters present in the game, are quite entertaining and good additions to the series, but they take a sideline to the more nostalgic characters when it comes to their importance to the plot. It would have been nice to see Return to Monkey Island lean more heavily on these new characters to switch up the Monkey Island formula.
I'm working on a way for us to get to Monkey Island without using a voodoo potion.
Glad to hear it. I'm working on something else. Great meeting. See you later.
However, some changes to the formula have paid off in spades. Return to Monkey Island features a brand new art style for the series, which didn't come without controversy upon the game's initial reveal, but upon playing Return to Monkey Island, the art style feels at home in the Monkey Island setting. Fans of the original Monkey Island games from the early 90s are sure to appreciate the love and care that the game developers at Terrible Toy Box have put into crafting the game's world. The art style brings the Monkey Island series into the modern era and will hopefully remain consistent in potential future titles. There's a great amount of detail put into Return to Monkey Island's various settings, all of which are littered with objects that Guybrush can interact with. Upon interacting with an object, Guybrush will almost always make a quip or funny observation, providing many chuckles throughout his adventure in the Caribbean.
More importantly, is the taste of after chicken the same as the aftertaste of chicken?
Guybrush is able to pick up a lot of these objects and use them to interact with his environment. You'll often use these objects to solve the game's various puzzles it throws at you in every chapter. Whether it be figuring out how to get past a parrot guarding a magical eye patch or finding evidence to ensure one of your friends goes to jail for major insurance fraud, the puzzles in the game are consistently challenging, rewarding, and hilarious. But if you're worried that the puzzles may be a bit too challenging, don't fear. The developers have included a handy hint book in the game that can help you out if you're stuck on a particularly hard puzzle. To what I'm sure will be the dismay of the most hardcore Monkey Island fans, items can no longer interact with any object in the game. This means there's very little guessing as to what an item is able to be used on or used with, and takes a lot of challenge out of the gameplay that was present in the original Monkey Island games. However, for those concerned that Monkey Island has become a bit too casual for their tastes, the developers have included a secondary mode with harder, more intricate puzzles that promises to provide old-time Monkey Island players with a greater challenge. There's also plenty of environmental humor to be found in the game as well. As Guybrush completes various tasks that put him closer to discovering the secret of Monkey Island, he'll leave his mark on the world around him, often to devastatingly hilarious results. One moment near the end of Act 1 had me laughing so hard I nearly started crying. Return to Monkey Island could easily be called Dad Jokes, the game. This style of humor won't be for everyone, but the game had me consistently laughing out loud as I sailed through the Caribbean as Guybrush Threepwood. However, this humor wasn't quite enough to make me overlook the game's flaws. Return to Monkey Island's story is great, to a point. In fact, the story across the game's 5-act structure is absolutely superb up until the final moments of the game. There's a very interesting plot point that builds throughout the story of the game that's completely thrown out the window at the end, and it's a shame. Upon reflection, the game's ending makes sense in the context of the game's themes, but it does so by pulling the rug out from underneath the player. The ending feels very jarring, as many interesting narrative beats created in the otherwise excellent story are cast out to sea for the sake of making a point that really could have been conveyed just as well had the story stayed its course.
LeChuck, my old nemesis. Here we are again. Looks like this story ends the way it was always destined to end, with just you and me and the secret.
Not quite.
I don't suppose it'll do me any good to point out that you're cheating again.
Return to Monkey Island is incredibly charming. It's a largely successful return to form for the Monkey Island series. Its writing is delightfully witty, its characters are entertaining, its art style is superb, and its puzzles offer just enough challenge to keep the game engaging for all types of players. However, a fumbled ending sours the experience a bit, even if that ending reinforces the themes of the game. Still, Return to Monkey Island offers plenty of fun for both new and returning players, complete with zany dad jokes and a charm that will ultimately leave you smiling after your playthrough.
You've probably got to get going.
You say goodbye first.
No, you say bye 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 first.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.